Hey everyone, welcome to Dala Games, and today I want to talk about the Switch 2. I know there's a lot of negative discourse around physical media and what's on the cart and what's not on the cart these days, as well as just the price of games in general. But I figured today I want to get into something a little bit more positive, and just kind of go back at the Nintendo Switch, and it's truly given us a lot of incredible games. They're ambitious, they're creative, and they're full of heart. But let's be honest, it has shown its age. From frame rate hiccups to muddy textures, some of the most amazing experiences on the system had to fight the hardware to shine. And with the Switch 2 on the horizon, I just can't stop thinking about which of these games deserve a second chance. Now, we see that there are a lot of games that have been listed by Nintendo in terms of they're getting Switch 2 upgrades, but I put together a list of games that have not made it on that list specifically, and then also games that I think would shine. They're already amazing experiences, but just need a little bit of love to get them to be perfect in terms of just how they're playable. So without further ado, let's get started. Bayonetta 3 delivers over-the-top action with relentless energy, blending dazzling visuals, stylish combat, and delightfully eccentric characters. Players step back into the shoes of the titular witch, Bayonetta, whose sharp wit and powerful moves anchor the experience. Combat sequences showcase Platinum Games' hallmark flair with fluid animation and impressive choreography. Yet, during these visually intensive battles, especially involving multiple giant enemies, the Switch occasionally struggles, leading to noticeable resolution drops and fluctuating frame rates. Gameplay-wise, Bayonetta 3 evolves its series' renowned combat mechanics with new weapons, demon slave summons, and strategic depth that encourages experimentation. The ability to seamlessly summon massive demons during fights significantly enriches the combat dynamics, making encounters exhilarating. However, these impressive moments are sometimes marred by the performance stutters when the screen becomes chaotic, breaking the otherwise smooth flow of battle and temporarily reducing visual clarity. The game's story continues the franchise's tradition of high-octane narrative absurdity and playful character interactions, featuring dimension-hopping adventures and delightfully bizarre scenarios. Each scene bursts with personality and humor, complemented by the outstanding voice acting and dramatic set pieces. Unfortunately, though, some cutscenes also highlight performance constraints, exhibiting dips in visual quality or brief freezes that occasionally disrupt the cinematic experience. Still, despite these performance hiccups, Bayonetta 3 remains a compelling experience that exemplifies why fans adore Platinum Games. The sheer creativity in combat scenarios, character design, and imaginative settings effortlessly overshadow technical limitations, which is why I have this on my list. This game deserves an upgrade to make this game shine even more. Xenoblade Chronicles 2 is a sprawling JRPG adventure set in the stunning world built upon giant creatures known as Titans. Players follow Rex, a salvager who becomes linked to Pyra, a powerful living weapon known as a blade. The story expertly combines an emotional journey filled with memorable characters, expansive lore, and dramatic plot twists, drawing players deeper into its rich universe. Yet, the ambition of its enormous open-world design sometimes stretches the Switch's hardware beyond its limits, resulting in noticeable visual pop-ins and fluctuating resolutions during exploration. Mechanically, Xenoblade Chronicles 2 impresses with an intricate, deep battle system where strategic blade combinations and elemental affinities play pivotal roles. Combat feels like a rewarding dance of timing and strategy, amplified by the dynamic interactions between drivers and blades. Unfortunately, battles with multiple enemies or during visually complex special attacks occasionally cause significant performance dips and frame stuttering, briefly pulling players out of the immersion. Despite these technical setbacks, Xenoblade Chronicles 2 maintains a visual charm through its vibrant art style and creatively diverse environments, each distinct Titan presenting unique ecosystems, cultures, and wildlife. These meticulously crafted worlds encourage exploration and reward curiosity, although texture streaming issues and delayed asset loading are noticeable when rapidly traversing expansive landscapes or entering populated settlements. Ultimately, Xenoblade Chronicles 2 triumphs due to its compelling narrative, emotionally resonant characters, and addictive combat system. While technical limitations are clearly present, The overall experience, backed by the stellar soundtrack and heartfelt storytelling, makes this game an unforgettable adventure. And that's exactly why it deserves another shot on the Switch 2. With upgraded hardware, we could finally see this world in full clarity, smooth performance, faster load times, sharper visuals, and battles that hit harder without slowdown. Give this gem the technical polish it was always reaching for. It could truly ascend to the pantheon of JRPG greats. Fire Emblem Warriors 3 Hopes offers an ambitious blend of real-time Musou combat and strategic depth, expanding the beloved Fire Emblem Three Houses universe with a fresh narrative twist. Players return to the world of Fudlen, this time guiding new protagonist Shez and iconic characters from Three Houses through exciting and intense battlefield scenarios. The sheer volume of simultaneous enemies and allies on screen is visually impressive, but also taxes the Switch's capabilities, causing frame rate drops and sluggish performance during large-scale battles. The game's combat mechanics elegantly merge fast-paced hack-and-slash action with strategic trope deployment and character-based abilities. Players must carefully choose their roster, customize their skills, and thoughtfully manage battlefield positioning. This satisfying combination encourages tactical thinking. Yet, the game's ambition occasionally results in performance dips, particularly when numerous special attacks or abilities trigger simultaneously, noticeably impacting responsiveness. Narratively, Three Hopes shines by providing an alternate, engaging perspective on the intricate political drama and deep character relationships established in Three Houses. The branching paths and robust character interactions deliver both fan service and intriguing storytelling that enriches the broader Fire Emblem lore. Unfortunately, graphical inconsistencies such as texture pop-ins during cutscenes or dialogue sequences sometimes diminish otherwise immersive narrative moments. Nevertheless, Fire Emblem Warriors 3 Hopes excels due to its engaging combat, strong narrative integrations, and beloved characters, creating a deeply enjoyable spin-off that cleverly expands the worlds fans already adore. While its technical hurdles are undeniably present, the game's strategic depth and addictive gameplay more than compensates, ensuring fans find significant value despite occasional performance frustrations. But that's where the Switch 2 comes in, giving this game the opportunity to shine again with a 60 FPS or, if we're lucky, 120 FPS upgrade. Astral Chain presents a uniquely thrilling experience as players assume the role of a futuristic police officer battling interdimensional creatures in the visually stunning Arc City. Developed by Platinum Games, its standout feature is the dual character combat, letting players simultaneously control both the protagonist and a legion, a chained summonable companion creature adding tactical complexity and satisfying depth to battles. However, the ambitious graphical demand of its vibrant cityscape occasionally leads to noticeable frame rate dips and minor stuttering during more intensive sequences. The game expertly blends stylish action combat with detective-style investigative segments. Players gather clues, solve puzzles, and interact with NPCs in segments designed to pace the intense combat, resulting in an excellent gameplay rhythm. Nevertheless, exploring densely populated city districts occasionally exposes graphical compromises, including pop-ins, delayed texture rendering, and some stuttering when rapidly moving between scenes or initiating combat encounters. Narratively, Astral Chain captivates players with its intriguing sci-fi storyline filled with mystery, conspiracy, and memorable characters. The writing deftly balances epic action set pieces with quieter, character-driven moments, keeping players engaged and invested throughout. Yet, some dramatic story beats and cinematic sequences, particularly those featuring elaborate visual effects, occasionally exhibit performance fluctuations, slightly dampening immersion. Even with these performance imperfections, Astral Chain stands as one of the Switch's most unique action experiences. The innovative combat system, combined with engrossing narrative and artistic visual design, delivers a thoroughly captivating game. While players might wish for a bit more technical polish, the strength of its distinctive gameplay and compelling storytelling undeniably outweigh its occasional hiccups. And yet, imagining Astral Chain on more powerful hardware like the upcoming Switch 2 feels like unlocking its full potential. Improved resolution, stable frame rates, and faster asset streaming would not only enhance its intense combat and cinematic visuals, but would also allow for the stylish aesthetic and futuristic world of Arc City to truly shine. A next-gen upgrade wouldn't just be a technical facelift, it would be the version of Astral Chain that Platinum Games originally envisioned, unshackled and fully realized. Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity brings players back to the beloved world of Hyrule from Breath of the Wild, delivering intense Musou-style combat mixed with familiar faces and epic storylines. Set as a prequel to Nintendo's iconic open-world game, it expertly captures the tension and drama preceding Hyrule's fall. Players battle waves of enemies as legendary heroes like Link, Zelda, and the champions from each region, each boasting distinct playstyles and visually impressive moves. Unfortunately, the excitement sometimes overwhelms the hardware, causing frame rate dips and noticeable slowdowns during large-scale battles. Combat mechanics in Age of Calamity are dynamic, strategic, and incredibly satisfying. Players use powerful special moves, clever dodging, and weapon combos to dominate enemy hordes. The introduction of the Sheikah Slate abilities adds a tactical layer, enabling creative environmental interactions and crowd control. Despite this complexity enhancing gameplay, the numerous enemies and flashy special effects occasionally cause significant performance struggles, especially in visually packed scenarios involving large explosions or multiple bosses. Narratively, Age of Calamity succeeds beautifully in fleshing out characters and deepening players' connection to Hyrule's cast. The game's story provides an emotionally impactful exploration of friendship, bravery, and impending tragedy. Yet, cinematic sequences filled with impressive visuals occasionally suffer from graphical stutters and pop-in textures that disrupt immersive storytelling moments. Nevertheless, Age of Calamity remains as a standout experience. Its robust combat, emotional narrative, and nostalgic setting deliver immense value for fans of Zelda and action games alike. Despite performance struggles, the joy of fighting alongside beloved characters and unraveling the compelling prequel story outweighs technical imperfections. But, on the Switch 2, the game could finally roar at full volume. A hardware upgrade could allow Age of Calamity to maintain smooth frame rates even during the most chaotic battles, sharpen environmental details, and eliminate distracting load stutters. With its massive battles, rich lore, and epic scope, this is the kind of game that deserves to break free of its technical chains and deliver the high-octane war for Hyrule as it was truly meant to be played. Shin Megami Tensei V offers an intense RPG experience rooted in apocalyptic storytelling and strategic turn-based combat. Players awaken in a transformed ruined Tokyo, encountering mysterious entities, demons, and morally complex narratives that explore human nature and survival. This expansive setting, full of sprawling ruins and atmospheric vistas, pushes the Switch's hardware noticeably, resulting in frequent pop-ins, visual stutters, and inconsistent frame rates when traversing large areas. The gameplay in SMT V revolves around the series' iconic demon recruitment and combat system, featuring the innovative press-turn battle mechanics. Every encounter demands strategic thinking, exploiting enemy weaknesses, and skillful demon fusion. Battles are challenging yet deeply rewarding, keeping players on their toes. Unfortunately, the ambitious visual fidelity in battles occasionally causes dips in the performance, particularly when special attacks or complex visual effects trigger simultaneously, impacting responsiveness. Story-wise, the game's narrative depth and mature themes distinguish it from other RPGs. It compellingly portrays a darkly atmospheric apocalypse, questioning morality, law, and chaos through branching story choices and character interactions. However, key cutscenes occasionally exhibit graphical imperfections, including delayed texture loading or brief visual stutters that momentarily hinder immersion. Despite these issues, Shin Megami Tensei V shines through its powerful storytelling, strategic depth, and atmospheric world building. The game's complex narrative and engrossing mechanics make it essential playing for RPG enthusiasts, easily foreshadowing its intermittent performance frustrations. That said, it's also a textbook example of a game that's aching for a Switch 2 upgrade. With upgraded hardware, the oppressive beauty of its world could be rendered in high fidelity. Battles could run without hiccups, and the cinematic weight of its choices could land with full impact. An upgraded version wouldn't just smooth the rough edges, it would elevate SMT V into the definitive vision its creators intended on the Switch. Monster Hunter Rise continues Capcom's legendary hunting series with fluid movement, fast-paced combat, and vibrant ecosystems teeming with diverse creatures. Players embark on thrilling hunts, tracking and battling majestic monsters using an array of dynamic weapons and equipment. Yet, during these visual stunning encounters, the Switch hardware is pushed to its limits, leading to occasional drops in resolution, reduced texture clarity, and performance dips, particularly during multiplayer hunts where flashy effects and multiple players flood the screen. Mechanically, the introduction of wire bugs transforms the franchise's signature gameplay by significantly enhancing mobility and combat versatility. Players swiftly zip across environments, perform aerial combos, and reposition with ease, all while managing their stamina and timing. This system adds verticality and flair, making each hunt feel dynamic and fresh. However, when multiple wirebug maneuvers, monsters, and elements effects collide in one scene, the Switch occasionally chokes under the pressure, resulting in brief stutters or frame rate slowdowns. The environments in Rise are expertly crafted, drawing inspiration from feudal Japanese aesthetics while layering in monster-specific habitats and complex terrains. Each region feels alive with endemic life, subtle weather changes, and hidden vertical paths that reward exploration. But even with its artistry, the game suffers from occasional pop-in, texture fade-ins, and moments where asset detail noticeably drops, especially when dashing through areas or transitioning between zones at high speed. Despite those technical hurdles, Monster Hunter Rise stands tall as one of the best action games on the platform. Its cooperative focus, deep customization, and incredible monster variety delivers hundreds of hours of replayability. But it's also a prime candidate for the Switch 2 upgrade. Higher resolution textures, consistent frame rates, faster loading times, and improved draw distance would make this already stellar experience feel even more immersive and responsive. With more powerful hardware behind it, Rise could truly evolve into the apex hunt it was always meant to be. Dragon Quest XI delivers a traditional JRPG masterpiece, defined by an epic story, lovable characters, and classic turn-based combat. Players journey through a vibrant world as the Luminary, uncovering secrets, forming lasting friendships, and battling monstrous foes to fulfill a heroic destiny. While the Switch port successfully preserves most of the game's charm, it occasionally suffers from minor graphical downgrades, reduced resolution, and frame rate fluctuations compared to other platforms, especially during larger, visually intensive set pieces or crowded city areas. Combat mechanics in Dragon Quest XI offer a beautifully refined turn-based battle with straightforward strategic depth. Party members each bring unique abilities, and the inclusion of combined moves and tactical formations keep battles fresh even across dozens of hours. While these systems are responsive and polished, certain enemy spells or cut-in animation can lead to brief slowdowns, creating momentary breaks in otherwise seamless encounters. It never derails the experience, but it's a clear sign of the Switch's hardware reaching its limits. Narratively, Dragon Quest XI is a masterclass in pacing and charm. The game's world is packed with personality, each town and region feels distinct, with emotionally resonant side stories and main plot that builds to something truly grand. The voice acting, orchestrated soundtrack, and thoughtful localization all elevate the storytelling. Yet, during certain cinematic sequences, or while fast traveling across sprawling regions, some hiccups appear. Texture pop-ins, a dip in audio sync, or the occasional long loading screen interrupting the flow. Still, even with these technical blemishes, Dragon Quest XI is one of the finest JRPGs ever made, accessible to newcomers yet richly rewarding for veterans. But imagine it on the Switch 2, with higher resolution assets, sharper UI elements, faster transitions, and fully stabilized performance. It could finally match the visual and technical quality of its story and gameplay. A next-gen re-release wouldn't need to reinvent anything. It would just give this all-time great the polish it so thoroughly deserves. Princess Peach Showtime finally gives Princess Peach the spotlight she deserves, putting her front and center in a whimsical adventure that feels refreshingly different from her usual supporting role. Set inside the magical Sparkle Theater, Peach must take on a variety of heroic roles across different plays to stop the villainous Grape and her sour bunch from stealing the show. The game's charm lies in its creativity. Each play transforms into a new genre or adventure style, letting Peach don costumes like Sword Fighter Peach, Detective Peach, and even Kung Fu Peach. However, while the vibrant art direction and theatrical flair are undeniably appealing, the Switch's aging hardware shows its limits, with occasional frame rate drops and slight texture fuzziness, particularly during more crowded or action-heavy scenes. Gameplay in Showtime revolves around simple yet satisfying mechanics that change depending on Peach's current role. One moment you're engaging in stylish sword duels, the next you're solving mysteries with detective gadgets, or performing elegant ballet maneuvers to save the day. This variety keeps the gameplay fresh and prevents the experience from feeling repetitive. That said, even with the charming variety, there's a noticeable sense that the game is being held back slightly. The controls, while fluid, sometimes feel constrained by minor input lag during more elaborate sequences, hinting at what a smoother, more responsive experience could be on more powerful hardware. Visually, Princess Peach Showtime is colorful, playful, and full of delightful stagecraft details that make each play feel distinct and alive. The theater setting gives the developers an excuse to lean into fantastical sets and costume changes with great flair. However, the game's resolution occasionally softens, especially during transitions between scenes or more graphical, busy moments, where backgrounds can appear flatter than intended. While it never truly detracts from the fun, it's clear that the magic of the setting and the imaginative art direction would shine even brighter with sharper visuals, better lighting effects, and more detailed animations, making it an obvious candidate for a polished Switch 2 upgrade. Eiyuden Chronicle 100 Heroes is a love letter to classic JRPGs, brought to life by the original creators of Suikoden. It's a grand turn-based adventure set in richly detailed fantasy world filled with political intrigue, personal sacrifice, and yes, over 100 unique recruitable characters. Its retro-inspired 2.5D aesthetic blends detailed pixel art with dynamic camera angles and modern lighting, creating some truly beautiful moments. Unfortunately, on the Nintendo Switch, that artistic ambition is a letdown by frequent performance hiccups. Frame rate drops during battle animations, sluggish loadings between scenes, and resolution dips that muddy the finer visual details. At its core, Eiyuden Chronicles delivers the kind of sprawling, character-rich story RPG fans dream of, with a robust party system that allows for 6-character battles, layered turn-based combat, and an army's worth of companions to recruit. The game constantly gives you new faces, strategies, and stories to explore. The combat system is strategic and satisfying, enhanced by flashy attack animations and a variety of formations. But on the Switch, those flashy animations often come with choppy frame pacing or a second of stutter, particularly in battles with environmental effects or multiple enemies, dragging the pace of otherwise thrilling encounters. The overworld exploration, side quests, and home base building all give Eiyuden Chronicles a grand sense of scope, harkening back to the best of late 90s RPG design. There's a real feeling of growth and investment as your headquarters expands and your party grows. However, traversing towns and dungeons often reveals texture streaming delays, inconsistent frame rates, and long loading screens that break up the pacing. The Switch version simply feels like it's constantly bumping up against the edges of what the hardware can handle, holding back what could be an even more immersive experience. And that's why Eiyuden Chronicle 100 Heroes is a perfect candidate for a Switch 2 upgrade. The game's artistic vision, strategic gameplay, and massive cast deserve smoother performance, crisp visuals, and snappy load times. With a next-gen patch, this spiritual successor to Suikoden could finally perform as majestically as it was meant to. For JRPG fans craving a classic-feeling game with modern scope, this one's already special, but on better hardware. It could be legendary. A Switch 2 version would not only future-proof the experience, but also do justice to the sheer ambition of Eiyuden Chronicles. Imagine pixel art rendering in native resolution, battles that unfold without a single frame of stutter, and a seamless world that loads as fast as you can move through it. For a game this packed with character moments, strategy, and story depth, better hardware isn't just a luxury. It's a final piece that lets the heroic epic reach its full potential. And honestly, everybody, I cannot wait to see what the Switch 2 can bring to these already incredible experiences. So many of them are being held back by the limitations of the original Switch, whether it's sharper visuals, smoother performance, or just shorter load times, these aren't just nice to haves. They're the kind of upgrades that would already take an amazing game and make them truly shine. But now I want to hear from you. What games do you think deserve a second chance on the Switch 2? And which games do you think were just a processor or a patch away from perfection? Drop your thoughts in the comment and let me know, especially if there are any hidden gems out there, which games deserve some spotlight. Now, thanks for watching, and as always, please like and subscribe, and I'll catch you again in the next episode of Dala Games. Take care.